years ago when I decided to step out. Notably, I was working within the legal service industry for a firm called Ipoli. So there was a lot of things that I experienced within there which I want to share with you. And I've also brought industry experts with their knowledge to share with you, because the role of an IT administrator, it has changed. What an IT administrator used to do is very different to what they are now expected to do. Hence why we have Mission is Possible. Mission is Possible simply relates to the fact that it may seem like an enormous, gigantic task that you face, but it is possible for you to achieve what is required if you understand the new environment that you're operating within, and if you understand the technologies available, and if you understand how you fit into the whole picture. Now, I particularly like a saying that I've adopted for this year. I have two sayings that I've adopted for this year. One of them is, just do it. I think a lot of the time we procrastinate. And procrastination is a killer of anything you want to do. So my aim this year was, just do it. So that's one of the reasons we're here. I decided that we are going to just start, because I've been talking about getting IT administrators together for a very long time. In fact, the proof of the pudding was this gentleman in a conversation we had about 2 years ago. We really were feeling that IT administrators were not giving the kudos they deserve, because too often we tend to sit back instead of actually engaging. And that's very key. Number two, Einstein. Einstein has been a real motivation for me this year. I don't know if any of you know the saying about insanity. That insanity is the process of doing something the same way and expecting a different result. And I sat down at the beginning of this and I thought, you know what? Einstein is very, very right. If things are going to change, we cannot continue to do things the same way. So one of the key things I would like to bring to the forefront is it's time for us to change. We will be part of the business decision makers and drivers, as is the way it should be now, because technology is beginning to rule the world. Okay? Now, you're going to excuse me while please get me my tablet so I can continue. As it's not up there, the light will come on shortly. My memory is not as sharp as it used to be. So that was one of the things. Now, we have here 4 sections that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the mindset of a user. Why is that important? It's important because if you don't understand your user, you're not going to be able to make the appropriate tweaks, changes, implementations that you need in order for it to be business appropriate and user appropriate. Remember, your clients are not just the IT team, and they're not just the management, and they're not just the users. Unfortunately, an IT administrator right now is a jack of all people. A jack of all people means that you are relating to a diverse range of people. You're relating with the management, you're relating with your clients who are your team, you're relating with clients who are part of one department or another, you're relating to the customer service, you're relating to everybody. And you're relating to authorities, regulators. Excellent. It's good to have a backup. Backup plan always essential. Management spends money, guess what? They expect that ROI today, not 6 months down the line. And if it doesn't happen, it impacts you and me. Because the next time they think of an IT solution, they say, nah, we have too many white elephants. The white elephants are due to inappropriate expectation management and inappropriate timing. And the IT administrator has to manage these things so that when technological advancements that are right and that are relevant come out, you'll be able to apply them. So here I said what it can do, what it can't do, and other options. You need to be fully aware. Your job is not just to love IT, which is what I used to do. Your job is to know it, understand it, and see how it's appropriate to the business. Managing the IT budget. Now, I know you're not accountants. I know you're not accountants, but your role has changed. There are terms that you really must learn to understand, whether you like it or you don't. One of them is ROI, return of investment. This is key where IT is concerned. Every manager wants to know, I spent $2,000 on that hard drive. What am I getting back? What is your ROI, return of investment? You need to know TCO, total cost of ownership. What is the total cost of ownership of this thing? How much is it going to cost me? Because sometimes when you're buying a solution, there are several costs that people don't think about. You have the initial outlay, then they will tell you there's a license renewal, then they will tell you there are modules to add on. Sorry people, you are now going to be semi-accounting. You have to begin to understand these costs. Upfront costs. For instance, there is a particular firewall that I bought. The upfront cost $6,000. That means instantly now to have it in the office $6,000. However, there is a monthly recurring cost. There is an annual cost. All of these costs you must understand when you are proposing a solution. The mistake we often make, we take the price that's written on the box as the ultimate price, and it's not. There are license fees, there are hidden fees. You need to analyze them all, know them all, and put them all in the proposal so that the correct decision whether to go forward or not is made. Long-term costs. It's true, long-term costs. Some things evolve. They evolve, and their costs are related to it. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I have a particular client. They bought, what did they call it? A kind of an archiving of digital documents. The cost of them at the beginning, then every year, the cost increases and it's the same cost. And then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. The cost is so big, they still have to do it because all their data is by today, not 6 months down the line. And if it doesn't happen, it impacts you, and me. Because the next time they think of an IT solution, they say, no, we have too many white elephants. The white elephants are due to inappropriate expectation management and inappropriate timing. And the IT administrator has to manage these things so that when technological advancements that are right and that are relevant come out, you'll be able to apply them. So here I said what it can do, what it can't do, and other options. You need to be fully aware. Your job is not just to love IT, which is what I used to do. Your job is to know it, understand it, and see how it's appropriate to the business. Managing the IT budget. Now, I know you're not accountants. I know you're not accountants, but your role has changed. There are terms that you really must learn to understand, whether you like it or you don't. One of them is ROI, return of investment. This is key where IT is concerned. Every manager wants to know, I spent $2,000 on that hard drive. What am I getting back? What is your ROI, return of investment? You need to know TCO, total cost of ownership. What is the total cost of ownership of this thing? How much is it going to cost me? Because sometimes when you're buying a solution, there are several costs that people don't think about. You have the initial outlay, then they will tell you there's the license renewal, then they will tell you there are modules to add on. Sorry people, you are now going to be semi-accounting. You have to begin to understand these costs. Upfront costs. For instance, there is a particular firewall that I bought. The upfront cost $6,000. That means instantly now to have it in the office $6,000. However, there is a monthly recurring cost. There is an annual cost. All of these costs you must understand when you are proposing a solution. The mistake we often make, we take the price that's written on the box as the ultimate price, and it's not. there are license fees, there are hidden fees. You need to analyze them all, know them all, and put them all in the proposal so that the correct decision whether to go forward or not is made. Long-term costs. It's true, long-term costs. Some things evolve. They evolve, and then costs are related to it. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I have a particular client. They bought what they call a kind of an archiving of digital documents. The cost seemed okay at the beginning. Then every year, cost increases, and it's the same cost. And then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But the cost is so big, they still have to do it because all their data is locked into that solution. What do they do? So that's why you have to do a lot more analysis before you jump. It's a bit like programmers. I always tell my programmers, it is better you do all the writing, all the investigation before you start coding so that you get a better solution. Same with the analysis when you're an IT administrator. It's better to do a lot more analysis before you make that proposal. Because in the end, they will remember you for the good or for the bad. Monthly recurring costs, especially when you're considering internet and things like that, there are two costs that normally pop up. Monthly recurring and non-recurring costs. The non-recurring costs are the installation costs. How much does it take to plug it in at this particular time? And the monthly recurring costs, how much is it going to cost me from month to month for the year? You need to do your analysis. You need to take time to sit down and work these out. If you love Excel or you don't love Excel, it's time to get acquainted with Excel. It makes these kinds of analysis much, much more easier. Expenditure, how much you're going to spend. Now, how much you're going to spend is a combination of a lot of costs. Those here that I've listed, those that I haven't listed. But to become a key part of your organization, and especially from a technical perspective, it is very, very important you start to understand these variables and apply them and review them. And when you're putting forward a proposal, they must be there. Be a technologist realist. Now what do I mean by that? I love technology. Anything comes out, I'm like sitting down there, checking it out, thinking, yeah. But I don't always recommend all technology to all the firms I go to. I ask some questions like, okay, what size are you? How much do you want to spend? What do you actually have on the ground right now? If somebody doesn't even have a network, or if their network is ad hoc and there's no client service facility, some of these solutions won't work very well. So you actually must be a technology realist. And sometimes you have to stand in a position where you say, I'm sorry, but it's not appropriate for us at this time with the infrastructure we have on ground, because unless you're willing to buy an inverter, buy solar panels, you cannot run an exchange in-house in Nigeria at this point in time. Even though it would be nice to do that, even though you would love to test the technology, it cannot always be appropriate. So you must learn sometimes to tell your boss, no, but have an alternative ready. We cannot run an exchange right now, but there are some cloud offerings that will give us the same. Exactly. So here I simply outlined, understand that technology you should solve problems. It should improve processes, and bottom line is it should add to the bottom line. There's no point in putting in a solution that in one way or another is going to positively impact the bottom line. For instance, if you put in an active control solution, it will save time. If you save time, you're saving money. So that's the way you've got to learn to equate things. It's not always that you see the dollars and the naira, sorry, the naira and the kobo. But there are ways where it indirectly impacts the bottom line. And you must be aware of how to express that to whoever is asked you to implement things. Very, very important, keep abreast of current, past, and new innovation. Now you're probably wondering why I say past. Past innovations are relevant. You need to know where you're coming from to know where you're going. And sometimes some of the past